Imagine driving down a deserted highway at 60 miles an hour, the night swallowing the world outside your headlights, when suddenly a childlike figure appears directly in your path. This was Mitch Coon's nightmare on April 18, 2021, on Australia's Hume Highway. A small form, clad in a blue parka, attempting to cross a road where a sudden swerve or brake would mean certain catastrophe. Mitch, towing a heavy hauler, had no choice but to hold his course, missing the figure by mere inches. The frantic call to the police, the initial reassurance that a child matching the description was found and returned home, brought immense relief. But that relief curdled into a cold dread when the New South Wales Police Department later issued an official statement. No child was ever found. 8 hours of searching. No trace. A baffling contradiction that leaves a chilling question hanging in the air. What or who did Mitch Coon truly see, and what became of them? This unnerving incident is just one of many terrifying truths lurking on the world's most deserted routes, where the unknown waits. Not long after, in Belmont, Michigan, a night out for Molly Peralez and her friends turned into a scene out of a horror film. At 2:30 a.m., driving by the Rogue River, a shadowy figure was spotted crawling onto the road, drenched and utterly unresponsive. It was a young woman, collapsed onto the asphalt, her clothes still dripping in the frigid 48 degrees Fahrenheit air. After wisely calling 911 from their car, they learned the woman may us a 28-year-old Chinese student reported missing from Kalamazoo, over 60 miles away. She had no memory of her journey, possibly experiencing a dissociative fugue state triggered by fears of a stalker. She had fallen into the river, somehow swam across, and climbed onto the road. A ghost of her former self, lost in a waking nightmare. The roads hold not just forgotten souls, but outright predators. In Sheffield, England, on October 12, 2016, a family returning home at midnight rounded a corner onto Grange Mill Lane when a man in a clown costume leaped from the shadows, blocking their path. He waved, then charged their car as they stopped. When the driver tried to reverse, the clown sprinted, forcing them to floor it and swerve, narrowly avoiding a collision that could have been fatal for either party. But this wasn't a prank. It was just days after a man was brutally attacked by a knife-wielding clown, sparking a terrifying craze where clown sightings became threats, chases, and even attempts to force entry into vehicles. This family had faced a very real, very human monster. The dangers aren't always sinister. Sometimes they're tragically human. In Fowler, Texas, an off-duty officer witnessed a car swerve violently to avoid something in the road. It wasn't debris, but a young woman lying horizontally, motionless. She had crashed her car into a ditch minutes earlier. Her extreme intoxication and concussion leading her to stumble onto the highway. A silent, almost invisible hazard in the dark. It was a miracle she was spotted, a stark reminder of how quickly life can be extinguished on these unforgiving roads. Yet, the darkest encounters often involve something far more malevolent, something like the Texarkana Phantom. On February 26, 1946, Jimmy Hollis and Mary Jean, parked on a secluded road, were accosted by a masked man wearing a pillowcase, wielding a firearm. He knocked Jimmy unconscious and attacked Mary before being spooked by approaching headlights. They survived to describe a tall, slender man, but a month later, Richard Griffin and Polly Ann Moore were found murdered in their car, shot in the head. The same phantom struck again on April 14th, killing another couple with a firearm of the same caliber. A city paralyzed by fear, a phantom who appeared and vanished without a trace, even with the FBI involved. A car thief named Ule Swinney was a prime suspect, matching descriptions and making suspicious claims, but no direct evidence ever linked him to the murders. The Texarkana Phantom remains an unresolved mystery, a chilling testament to the darkness that can roam at night. More recently, on January 8, 2024, a truck driver on a remote Western Australian highway nearly 62 miles south of Perth saw two figures dragging something across the road at 11 p.m. They appeared out of nowhere, forcing him to swerve dangerously. By the time he stopped, they had vanished. What were they dragging? Frame-by-frame analysis showed what looked like human legs in shorts and black shoes, raising questions of a horrific crime, or perhaps something utterly inexplicable, an unsettling enigma swallowed by the vast emptiness of the highway. And sometimes the terror is raw, unprovoked human fury. On September 16, 2018, a New York Uber driver was nearly hit by a speeding car, only for that same car to slam its brakes, block the road, and the enraged driver to bash on his windows, screaming. This was no prank, no accident setup. It was pure, unhinged road rage. The Uber driver wisely backed up, but the assailant relentlessly pursued him. Only a stroke of luck. A police car waiting at a red light saved them from a potentially deadly confrontation. With the angry driver arrested for DUI, these stories, from phantom figures to deranged pursuers, paint a stark picture. The roads at night are not merely pathways, but stages for the unexplained. The terrifying and the truly bizarre, leaving those who encounter them forever changed, haunted by the question of what lurks in the dark.